So listen, guys, tonight I thought it would be great to start the show by talking about the lock and roll putter. You guys have been asking me a lot of questions about it. Obviously, you just saw my YouTube video about it, but I want to give you my perspective on the putter, part of my contribution to the design of the putter. We put a lot of effort into this putter as we designed it and developed it over the last 3 years. We've actually been working on this putter for almost 3 years. But as you know, many of you come to our schools because you bought the BioMech putter, which I want to talk about that. People are asking me lots of questions about what's the difference, what's the problem with it, and all these things. So tonight I want to answer your questions, but I want to kind of go through the evolution and design of why this putter has evolved forward to where it's at and why we went into the design of our own putter to match the single plane putting system. Now, the first thing I want to mention about the putter is that this is the BioMech putter. And matter of fact, I'm even holding the one that was designed with my name on it. Some of you may have this version of it. This was a great putter in the sense of the way it was fit to lean forward in the shaft. So when I saw this putter for the first time, and it was sent to me by a student, matter of fact, it was sitting in my office, I saw this as a biomechanically better way to roll a golf ball. So this is where it all started, was this company, which wasn't even a golf company, designed a putter that made it a putter designed for the body. Matter of fact, their marketing was, if the human body could grow a putter, it would look like this. And so me being scientifically minded, I'm always looking for the easiest possible way to play the game of golf. And I think that's why our company has been so successful for the years, is because we're not teaching golf. We're teaching the easiest way to play a very difficult game, and we're always looking for ways to make it easier and better. Tim Graves, my brother and partner, has developed a putting system that is the easiest way to putt. However, there was a problem with the single plane putting system. The putter. He was using putters. He was trying to make conventionally built putters that weren't built for the human body. They were built to be straight up and down, built at this 90-degree angle, and said, hey, figure out how to roll a golf ball with this. And then people like a guest I have tonight on the show, people that are smarter than me, look at it you have to look at it from outside the golf perspective and say, hey, what are you trying to do? You're trying to roll a golf ball with the stick with the human body, right? That's a different way of looking at golf. So I got involved with BioMech and I said, hey, can I start promoting your putter, because this is a great design. Now I did that, and they sold a heck of a lot of putters through BioMech, and some of you guys even have this putter. And to this day, it is still a very good putter. So don't get me wrong, they made a great putter. The problem that I had with this putter were numerous things. I would load weight onto the front of the putter. I thought the putter was way too light. So you'd see me loading weight on the putter, right? So I would take this thing, I'd also load weight into the back of the putter because I wanted the putter to always sit right for me. So where I position the weight. So I found myself putting lots of weight on the putter. Number two is the alignment system of the putter didn't match. It was hard to align up the putter. I find it very hard to align the putter. So that was two things. Number three is it wasn't very adjustable. Like it really was hard to figure out how to fit this putter to me, so it wasn't adjustable. And probably one of the biggest aspects was, even though the head design was pretty good, there was this grip problem. This was a standard 17-inch grip you can buy in the store that they put on their club. And I thought to myself, well, you have this biomechanical idea of shaft leaning forward, making it easier to keep the hands leading the putter, but then you ignore this part of the grip. So that's where I ended up with the BioMech. Still thought it was a great putter. So Tim and I got on the drawing boards, and we said, hey, this concept of shaft lean, hands forward, angle into the shaft, it lines up with the lead arm, right? It lines up with the lead arm. It lines up with the trail arm. So this is matching exactly what we teach, eliminating variables, because golf, if you want to simplify the game, you got to eliminate variables. Don't create more variables. Don't create more wrist angles. Eliminate wrist angles. You either got to eliminate wrist angle or you got to lock a wrist angle and never change it, right? So you're eliminating the ability to lose the angle. So this is how we were looking at putting. And I said, Tim, with your single plane putting system, and we understand that there's a tool now that's even better for this, can we design a better tool for the single plane putting system? And that's why we developed the lock and roll. So what you see in the evolution of this putter now is we have adjustability. So I can change the line angle. I could even take this out and make it left-handed or right-handed. So those of you who want a left-handed putter, this is the same putter. The shaft just adjusts. to be legal in golf, you can only go to a 10-degree angle. This goes to a 79-degree upward angle, which is 11 degrees from straight up and down. So this hits the legal limit of a putter on both sides. So it's fully legal. It locks in place. You have to lock this in place, or the USGA doesn't like it if you don't have a locking system. In other words, they don't want you adjusting your club while you play. And then we change the alignment system to match what we like to see in the alignment system. And then one of the greatest aspects of the putter is the grip. We spend a lot of time on making a grip that I call it ergonomically fitting the arm. It fits the forearm better because I want a wrist. If you look at this grip on this putter and I grab it, it starts bowing my wrist when I try to get the club against my arm. So my wrist goes into a compromised position here. And so I sat with designers that I need a legal grip that when I grip it, it keeps the wrist flat. So now when I set up to the putter, my wrist is flat and my ankles are locked. That's why we call it the lock and roll. So you're seeing kind of why we went from BioMech, which, guys, it's a good putter, but it wasn't heavy enough, didn't have the adjustability, I couldn't change the weighting system, I couldn't change the lie angle, and I couldn't get the grip to fit right, to a fully designed Graves golf club for the single plane putting fit system. Now, one of the things, I'm going to grab some golf balls here. One of the things I want to show you is, you kind of saw it in that video, so I'm kind of already showing you what you saw in the video. But some of the science behind putting, when it comes down to just biomechanics, and what you're seeing right now is locking and rolling. So you're seeing me lock it to the arm and then roll the golf ball. But what you're not seeing is that I'm actually right-handed putting. So you see this angle has been locked. I'm right-handed putting, and so I'm keeping the right shoulder moving down the line in linear. And so the key to keeping this face square is to keep the right shoulder moving in a linear fashion. See this? So you're not rotating the shoulder or the body. It's right shoulder linear. And so this keeps the face square. Now, what helps keeping the face square is that when I lock the flat side of the grip to the arm, now it locks the face. So now I can't move the face. It has to roll square. So you're seeing a reduction of variability, because you reduce the ability to take a face. You're always going to have the face square, and you've reduced the motion of the right shoulder to a down the line motion. So when I putt with this putter, I 100% feel like I'm right hand rolling the putter. And somebody asked me the question the other day. They said, are you rocking your shoulders and stuff? Look, my body, I'm trying to keep my torso as still as possible, and I'm moving my arms, which you see the front of my shoulders moving. I'm moving my arms and shoulders, but I'm not rocking my body. So it feels very much like an arm motion. And then if I nail that down even more, it feels like a right arm linear motion that's locked to the lead arm. That's what I feel in the putter. Now, another thing that I want you to know, that the way I use this putter is when I set up with it, is kind of the system I use. What's the system to make putts? And guys, what I want you, and you guys are all 10% show members, what I want you to understand about putting is, I want all of you to start thinking about, and we're going to have obviously training throughout the winter for this, but I want you to start thinking about process in putting. In other words, and by the way, just to tell you a quick story, last week I went to the AJG event in Jacksonville, Florida, the Billy Horschel event, and I watched a lot of the AJGA players play. And what I look for in players is, which I call maturity, but it's their ability to stay in process. And if you guys wonder how you can immediately get better at the game of golf, it's to improve your consistency of your processes. And I'll explain this in a second. But not only consistency of process, but if you have a consistent, my question would be to you, if you don't have a consistent process of playing golf, how can you expect to be a consistent golfer? And so a consistent process is, do you approach every golf shot the same way? Do you stay in your rhythm? Do you have the same pre-shot routines? How do you approach, what is your process for putting? What is your process for chipping? What is your process for full shots? And there's a massive separation between the average Joe amateur golfer and good golfers who stay in their processes for 18 holes of golf. And when I look at golfers, I can immediately see from watching them play one golf hole what level of golfer they are just by the way they run their processes. It's whether you take practice swings or not or how you do it, it almost doesn't matter what you do in your process, but it has to be a consistent process. So one of the things that you need to take into account if you want to be a better putter is the process you can now use with the lock and roll putter, because the process matches the single plane putting system, which my brother ingeniously designed over the years of the simplest way to putt. And now you got a putter that matches that system. Now you add a process to that and you make putts. And let me tell you my honest opinion about why I think this is so important. And this is going to sound not crazy to my team over here, but I hate practicing putting. I mean, I was going to put it out there. I'm sorry, but I don't like to practice putting. I find it difficult. I find that when I used a short putter, it used to hurt my back. I found so many difficulties with practicing putting that I didn't enjoy it. And there's variability to putting and it misses. I didn't enjoy putting. And I really, honestly, the thing I love about what we're doing with this putter is not that you don't have to practice. You want to do some practicing, but what you want to do is you want to make practicing efficient, and you want to make sure you're practicing the correct things, and you don't want to spend all your time trying to figure out your stroke. Because here's the goal of putting in much of my view. You want to dumb putting down to two elements, line and speed. If I can dumb putting down to line and speed, I then build a process to get line and speed. And all I got to do is run that process and I'll make putts, right? I'm not worried about stroke. How far do I take it back? I think that people get caught up in percentages of taking it back. All this stuff is crazy when all you got to do is you can't screw up the stroke because the putter is designed to be perfectly moved. So all I got to do is get my line correct and hit at the right speed. So in essence, all you're doing is really working on the speed. Because breaks right, okay, what speed do I have to hit it to make it break from right to left? So that is what my process is all about. So when I use the lock and roll putter, it comes down to this. I use an alignment 8 on the ball. And I see so many players not use the ball as an alignment 8. And I know some of you have told me, well, Todd, it messes me up. I get it. It messes you up because you don't do it enough. Because what you're doing is it messes you up because you can't match what you're perceiving to what reality is, and that's the goal here is perception and reality. So you have to keep doing it until you get good at it. So I use obviously the triple track, the Callaway balls I use, but you can use a single line if you want. But you need to use the ball as an alignment aid, especially inside 15 feet. So there's the first part of my process is getting my line. So that line for me determines what speed I'm going to hit it on. Well, what does that mean? Well, if I got a downhill fast one, obviously I'm not going to hit it very fast, so I've got to maybe play a little more break and hit it easy. So I'm going to go a little more to the right line. I'm going to do my calculations on my break, right? So that I rely a lot on making sure that my line matches my speed. That's what I do. Now, the second part of the process is once I've got my line set up, I set the putter down right-handed. So just with my trail hand. So now what I'm doing is, and I show this in the video, I don't widen my stance yet. I set the putter the way it's designed. So it has a unique design to it where it sets what we call in the box. Well, it's setting down correctly. My shaft is covering the red dot on that putter. And then I set my stance, and then I roll. Now, if you want to, you can take a practice stroke. You can come in here and take some practice strokes for feel, but then I want you setting it down with the right, setting into the putter, and rolling. So what you're going to see here is a consistent process of reading the putt, getting the right speed, lining the ball up, process of rhythm, rolling the ball. Notice not once did I care about my stroke. I didn't care about my stroke because I'm going to naturally make a perfect stroke because of the putter. I don't want you thinking about stroke. Learn how to get the line right and then roll the ball the correct speed. So I spend more time just hitting the weight of the putt correctly. In other words, the right speed correctly. It's pretty simple. And by the way, my brother probably has already told this story, but the last time I played in competition with this putter, probably the reason you're seeing the putter being so introduced by our company now is I birdied the first 4 holes. The first one I knocked like a couple of foot from the hole, but I made like a 40-footer, a 20-footer, a 10-footer, a 10-footer. And that wasn't the big deal as I was making so many putts. The big deal, my brother said was, he goes, how often have you practiced putting in the last year? I was like, I haven't practiced putting at all. I said, I haven't been on the green at all. I've hardly played any rounds of golf. And I go, I want to be able to step up and putt good without having practiced a lot. And that really is the beauty of a putter that locks to your arm and eliminates these angles and sets these angles, so all you're doing is worrying on the weight and the speed of the putt. And that's what we're hearing on the testimonials, by the way, is how incredibly simple the putter is to use.